Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Let me tell y'all something. I am back like I never left. It's your fabulous host, Jade Mathis, streaming from the always hot, extra crowded Houston, Texas, baby. And let me tell you about this episode today. I'm being a little extra because y'all know this is a family. You will know in a moment that I absolutely love. Don't play with me. Don't play about this episode. I'm just giving you forewarning. But I'm so incredibly honored to have this jewel with me today. And the information and the space that she has created for me, I will forever, forever be grateful for. So without any further waiting time, I'm going to read her bio. And we're going to bring this beautiful, beautiful jewel to the stage. And surprise, today we are talking to the Jade Ellis Mathis, also known as the Resilient Gem. She's an attorney, TEDx speaker, mental health advocate, and television personality. While following in the footsteps of her father, the host of the Emmy Award-winning, don't play with it, Judge Mathis show, Jade experienced several obstacles and setbacks on her challenging road to becoming an attorney after receiving a life-changing diagnosis of clinical depression, ADHD, and a learning disorder in her junior year in college. She was determined to change the way the world views mental health. In 2016, she gained national notoriety after sharing her story of resilience and perseverance in her viral testimony, "Don't Quit, Anything Can Happen." That video garnered over 1 million views. She is a former prosecutor who specialized in criminal justice reform and has been recognized for her work in second chance initiatives. Also in 2016, Jade created Back on Track, Prince George's County diversion program that was modeled after the program created by Vice President Kamala Harris during her tenure as Attorney General. She's a superstar, y'all. She's been featured in People, Essence, E, MSNBC, CNN, NBC, Fox, Rolling Out, The Root, and several other publications, podcasts, and media outlets. She's a mental health advocate and former mental health influencer for the National Institute of Health and Black Greek Letter Consortium. As an attorney, Jade represents families, members of victims unjustly killed by law enforcement in the DMV and works as counsel with the Detroit Project Clean Slate to expunge criminal records for low-income residents. You can also catch her as a recurring guest contributor on Fox, the CW, and the Roland Martin Show. If you're not already standing up in the building, giving this beautiful gem, you understand me, some love. Y'all look at her. Just beautiful. You can already feel the energy coming off the screen. Just so incredibly beautiful. Welcome, Jade.
Thank you. And I just want to know if I can just package you up and take you with me to do my intro whenever I go.
We already know the book tour coming.
I'm going to put you in my bag and I'm going to say, I have my personal intro person everywhere I go. So, you just go come with me and do it. And then I'm going to do what I do. So
that's what we're going to do. We already know the book tour is coming. And I'm ready because I'm going to bring those people. They're going to stand up. And they're going to welcome Jade, and they're going to get that information. You understand?
Thank you. Because, sometimes only a couple of them stand up sometime. And I'm like, I say, oh, you're going to be my good cheer girl, my good cheerleader. Get the people going, my hype girl.
I love it. And that's what I am here to do. And look, we know you from your legendary father. People who watch this podcast that really know me, they probably like, this girl is actually talking to Jade Mathis. I've been telling people for years, this is my extended family. Never knew it was going to go down this way. So they probably laughing. They're probably laughing out there because I've said it for years because I'm just honored. I mean, your family has done some amazing things. And I want to ask you, as daughter of legacy, because when you think about your father, he is cultural impact. He's truth telling. He is that. He embodies that. So coming from something that's so strong of a legacy, how did Jade kind of of course, adopted legacy. I know you've done it in your work. And then also say, look, there's also a path for Jade Mathis to follow.
So one thing my dad always, and I loved him even from a child, it's 4 of us, 2 girls, 2 boys. I am the firstborn, but he's always instilled in us. He's never really pushed his dreams and ambitions on us, but he's always instilled in us to do something great and to do something for other people and to serve. But he's always supported us no matter what that looks like. And that's one thing that I can say that I absolutely love about him. And I'll always remember is that whatever it was, he's always supported us 100%, as long as it wasn't harming anyone and it was making a difference in our community. And that's one thing that because he's instilled that in us, I think he trusted us to kind of carve out our own career paths. And because we watched him even as a child, we would take trips to Chicago on Saturday mornings for Rainbow Push Coalition, because he was a part of the Rainbow Push Coalition, the Southern Leadership Conference. So we saw him as an activist growing up. We would go to his courtroom in Detroit when I was a child. So we saw that greatness. So when it was time for us to make our own decisions, I think we all kind of went into areas where that we were giving back and helping people. And then we were able to carve out, individually what our specialty was going to be or what we liked the most, right? So I didn't go to law school. People think I went because my dad is a lawyer or judge to become follow at his footsteps. But I went after my diagnosis because I said I wanted to go into a career that would allow me to give second chances. And I knew that law would allow me to do that. And I sucked at math, so I was not going to medical school. So I wasn't going to be able to be a physician, but it allowed me to carve out my own path in doing expungements and say that I like to give second chances and build my name in that arena. So what I do tell people is, yes, it is legacy. However, you're supposed to build on that legacy, right? Your parents work hard. They go to school so they can afford these certain opportunities in life for you. And I tell people all the time, people who don't look like us do that to their children, do that for their children, and their children are successful. So more people who look like us, I wish they would start doing that for their children so they can carve their own path and expand on what their parents started.
And I love that, because the beautiful thing about that, because I think one of the things he embodies, I believe what I believe and I stand on it. And I think that alone is really the ripple effect. You might not necessarily stand on the thing that I stand on, but I've given you that example of, what to do when you follow passion and believing, in yourself. So when I think about that in my own personal household, even a part of us recording this right now, Jade, it was like my son has to have a living example of what it looks like. I don't care what he decides to do. Yep. But all of the things that I am speaking and declaring over you to show up and be who you are and do all these things, guess who else has to do that?
Yep. You're absolutely right about that.
It has to be that. So thank you for sharing that. But you know what I really love? She called herself the expungement guru. And I was sharing with Jay when we met initially how I had this touch point here recently with the criminal justice system and some women that had been incarcerated, and really how it's changed my life forever. Never expected to even touch that. But tell me about that title we talked about a little bit, and really tell me something that people get wrong about second chances.
So the funny thing is, when I was a prosecutor, I used to be a prosecutor for 7 years for Prince George's County, Maryland. And my chief of staff at the time, because I was one of the only people in the office that did expungements and I actually specialized in it. So I've probably done to date, and starting in 2017, I've probably done about 50 expungement fairs all over the country in different states. I've probably expunged definitely over 1,000 records. So she gave me the name and she said, you know what? No one can do these expungements like you. I'm going to call you the expungement guru. But it's funny because it's funny how God works, because I actually fell into expungements. I was a prosecutor, but whoever was doing expungements at that time, I was a baby prosecutor. I had just passed the bar. They were about to leave. So someone asked me, the supervisor asked me, could I stand in for expungements until they found a replacement? And I'm like, okay, if you can train me, I can stand in, I guess. And I stood in and I actually enjoyed it. So when the new administration came to hire, they came on board and they said, we heard that you were really, really good at these expungements, and we want you to become our expungement attorney for the office. So I said, look at God, when you are obedient, you just say yes and be a good team player, and maybe something that you actually love and is rewarding to you. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I absolutely love expungements. And besides that, civil rights, I don't think any other area I would be interested in practicing. So I actually fell into that title. And during that time, I learned that so many people, a misconception that people have about the criminal justice system is that, number one, people can't be reformed, or once a criminal, always a criminal. And I always tell people, we are all one decision away, including me, one decision away, one poor decision away from changing, from having a record that will hinder us for the rest of our life, right? So that could have been anybody. I always say, there but for the grace of God go I. That could have been any of us. So it's easy to point a finger because that person, guess what, got caught. Some of us just didn't get caught or something intervened, but that could have been any of us. Also, that notion that they're doing it because they want to, or they like to be a criminal, or like to take advantage of people. Always differentiate between two things. There's crimes of opportunity and crimes of necessity. Crimes of necessity, which is what a lot of our people commit, right? And when you're talking about prosecution in these criminal justice systems, guess who gets locked up? Us, right? Who are from these lower income communities and those type of things. So crimes of necessity, if you had to leave out in your neighborhood and worry about somebody jacking you, you're going to have a gun on you too, right? Or you're going to protect yourself in your house, right? Or if you have to figure out how you're going to eat or feed your kids, no, you shouldn't rob that person. It's not a good thing that you're stealing and you're taking from other people. But I understand, I have a greater level of empathy because you're trying to survive, as opposed to someone who already has advantages and really doesn't need to do what they're doing or carry a gun. And I call them volunteer thugs, right? I can't stand a fake volunteer thug. People who don't have to thug, but they want to be a thug. Because people who really about that life or grew up in those communities, they want to be as far as possible away from that if they can. So I think people don't realize that it's not just, oh, I'm a bad person. It could be one bad decision that person made that haunts them for the rest of their life, but it doesn't mean that they don't deserve a second chance. And I've expunged so many records for people, and they've gone on to do tremendous things. And it's the most rewarding feeling in the world.
Not Jade, they call him a volunteer thug.
Volunteer, I can stand a volunteer thug. So I'm like, out of all the things you are volunteering in this life, this is crazy. But volunteer thugs.
For sure. And actually knowing people that have to live lifestyles that force them into being, it's not something that I take very lightly. Oh. I look at the community, which I'm very still a part of the community I grew up in, and to know that most of my friends that are in my age group are dead or in jail. Yep. There's no laughing matter. Families destroyed forever, things generation that it's going to take years to unwrite. Yep. When I became older and I started to go out, further into the world and look at different things and look at different opportunities that other people had, and then coming back here, it still today shakes my core.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So that empathetic lens, I wish many more people had, Jade.
It's unfortunate. A lot of them do not. In places where it's really needed, as such as the courtroom and those type of, it's really not. Or a lot of prosecutors' offices, unless you have one where I worked at, was more progressive. So you have some more progressive prosecutors that, come up with alternatives. That was my specialty, as I specialize in alternatives to incarceration, because not everybody deserves jail, right? Now, I will say it's some people that need to go sit their butt down for a while, and I'm okay with that. And there's some other people, there's alternatives, right? Mm-hmm. And then the thing is, they don't realize when you lock people up, a lot of times, especially if you're locking up a younger person, they're going to just go in there around more savvy and mature criminals, and they're stewing around them, getting more angry and more dangerous. So you let them back out, and they're even more of a threat to the community, right? As opposed to trying to find something as an alternative to that. So people don't realize that you can't jail your way or incarcerate your way out of crime. It's not possible.
Absolutely. And then, I think you sit in a really, really great space because you have all of this experience with mental health. And then you also, too, have this legal authority side. And I'm going to be truly honest with you. When I was sitting with these women late last year, it has to be a bridge there, Jade, because the bridge, and I got chills. Look, because the bridge, I do, because it touched me in a way that I said, I don't know what else I'm called to do in that space. But I know I've had such a response to it that I don't know what he's going to do. But I know that there's some work for me to be done there, even though I have really no seeming like connection all the way to it. But it's changed me so much. Tell me about the bridge that still needs to be between this mental health side and this legal authority side.
So what a lot of people don't know statistically is that 30% of the people incarcerated have a documented mental health diagnosis. Those are just the ones that we know about, right? So we can't even imagine the people who are not documented or who don't have an actual diagnosis, but are still dealing with them and incarcerated. And that's what's happening now, is that they're using these detention facilities or jails as mental institutions and closing down the institutions. And what people have to start looking at, bridging that gap, is that pipeline, right? And one of the pipelines people have to start looking at is the pipeline of trauma, right? The pipeline of where you grew up at in your community, the product of your environment, looking at those and seeing, and even that stuff, environmental, or, from hereditary, you can have mental disorders, right? So looking at saying, how could your childhood of growing up in this trauma, number one, affect you to make these poor decisions or make these decisions that make you, that anybody could have made this decision, right? Or went down this road. Also bridging the gap with services right there. When you see that there's an issue or somebody committed a particular type of crime, or they keep coming back over and over and over and over again, you have the petty trespass and theft, stuff like that. There's probably something there. So I think that pipeline of identifying, okay, this person has done this on paper, or we know these type of people. We know that people deal with mental health issues in general, right? But this person on paper looks like somebody who may be struggling with something else. So this is something we need to look further into. And even like the department, the education facilities, from high schools to middle schools to colleges, even paying attention there, especially if you're in an inner city or high crime area, a lot of times those people or those children, that's what they call it, the prison to pipeline, or school to pipe. They try to say school to pipeline. I said the prison to school to prison pipeline a lot of times, because if you're not giving these students these resources, or families these resources, that is where they end up. So I think starting from a childhood, from early on education, identifying those factors there and bridging the gap between there, that could be a good bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're not in an environment where you're hearing, okay, well, there could be, a mental health conversation. I mean, it's like worlds away when you get to adulthood and you've already been through the system and you've done all this kind of things. Just so much you have to unlearn and unwire to even have a, vulnerable conversation around mental health. And I think that's an excellent segue, because, when you've talked about, your journey with mental health, tell me what's the difference between somebody surviving with mental health and actually living while managing. Because sometimes we need to get out of survival mode. That survival mode ain't really hitting all the time.
It's not, what I call it? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want you to talk about that, because people need to hear that difference. Just because you surviving and scratching and surviving.
Scratching and surviving. You're right about that, because it be like that. You're right about that, scratching and surviving. But no, you are absolutely right. And when I think back on it, that's a great question, because for the longest, I was diagnosed in 2006, between 2005 and 2006. So almost 20 years now. Whew, I know I look young. Almost 20 years now. But it wasn't until 2016 that I actually started telling my story and coming out and telling people. Only my parents knew, and my doctors clearly, because I was a little bit embarrassed, right? And what I was doing is that I'm still here. I think surviving mental health looks like, I'm here, I'm alive, I made it another day, I didn't take my life, but I'm here. Right. And I think thriving comes when you have that point of acceptance and you're like, this is what it is. This is what I have. This is probably going to be, for me, myself, mine is incurable. It's treatable, but clinical depression and ADHD are incurable. So I think number one, accepting it, unapologetically accepting it and saying that I'm going to get treatment for it. Like, I think that's a part of also thriving with it as well. Is putting yourself in the best position to say, in spite of, right? Or even with this. So in spite of this mental illness that people say a lot of times you can't be successful with, or it's going to be difficult. Yes, difficult doesn't mean impossible. So I think, to me, the biggest difference is that in spite of what it says on this paperwork, in spite of what, it traditionally would look like, because people think about somebody with mental health or mental health issues as people talking to themselves on the side of the street, right? Homeless and pushing carts with the random assortment of stuff inside. That's why I wanted to make sure I became a lawyer. So I show other people we have different looks and different faces. There's no standard of anything because it doesn't discriminate, right? So in spite of that, you're going to still choose to be great. So yes, I have a mental illness, but I am not mentally ill. I think that's what it means to thrive. I have this condition, like people say all the time, I have this, but it doesn't have me. Yes, I have this condition, but in spite of this and what it statistically looks like, I'm still going to be great. And I think I center my life around. Like, and I make my diagnosis work for me. So I tell people, I know that, my deficits are, I have ADHD, I have these type of things. However, we are very gifted and skilled and talented. People with mental illnesses, and they don't realize that on one side of your brain, they're kind of like, we're lightweight geniuses, depending on what it is. Very
I've seen it.
Yeah, very, very gifted, kind of even like Kanye, or I believe, was it Beethoven that cut off his ear, or maybe Van Gogh. It might have been Vincent Van Gogh. I think one of them had schizophrenia and cut his ear off. So a lot of people, especially with the severe mental health diagnosis, their genius is on one side of their brain. It's just those other lobes, are not as, well, I guess we'll say abnormal as some are. But they're geniuses. So you just tap into things that work well for your gifts. I know that ADHD is my mental illness, but it was one of them. But ADHD comes with that is creativity, right? And very colorfulness. So I write. I studied journalism, like those type of things that interest me. I just do things that I know work well with my mental illness and doesn't stress me out more. I think that's part of thriving as well.
That's beautiful. But the reality is, Jade, us as women that look like you and me, it's hard.
It's so
hard. It's so really hard because it's, it's so many mental shifts we have to do just to be somewhat accepted in place, and we didn't even really accept it. They tolerate.
So probably tolerate it.
I had to correct that from real life experience right there, because sometimes there's toleration, and I had to tell the people, I was talking, I got time for no mental gymnastics today. I say, Lord, these are gonna put me out of here, but Lord, I'm still your child. I'm just acting up a little bad, but they got me doing too much of this and that, and it still is not really connecting. So how do we shift the conversation from strong Black woman, because I'm tired of the strong, to whole Black woman? How do we shift that narrative?
I think showing up, number one, and authentically, I think we have to accept ourselves, right? And I think we have to be honest and transparent with ourselves. I think we have that because I am the same way up until last year when it kind of showed up in my body. But, I can do it. I'm going to put the fire. I want people to think I'm weak. I want people to think I'm a charity case. I got it. I'm superwoman, this and that. I think it's being transparent first with ourselves, saying, I do need help. And, I can be superwoman, but I don't have to all the time. Or I can tell others when I'm not doing well. And I think vulnerability, that's one thing us Black women, we're not able to do, or historically we were not able to do, is be vulnerable without making it seem like complaining, right? Or that aggressiveness anytime we say anything. But I think it's number one, being transparent with ourselves, saying, okay, I'm going to have to cap this. I did, this is what I'm able to do. I understand. And you can feel how you want to feel about it, but these are my boundaries. This is what I'm able to do to protect myself. And I also think going to therapy, something that our beautiful Black people do not like to do for some reason. And, I know it's because of this stigmatization in the Black community with mental illness, but I think going to therapy because somebody can help you look internally, right? And those things and those traumas that you may not understand that this savior complex or this hero complex is coming from, like that burns you out. And like I said, being transparent with other people. When I was a prosecutor and I noticed that, after hearing all these horrible cases every single day, I did traditional cases for a moment too. And I think it was a vehicular manslaughter case in which children had died. And it was, the person was drunk that was driving. It was body parts all in the trees. It was just a horrible case. And I got back to my office. And when we knew that we had a new case on the docket, we knew we had cases, there will be a blue stack of folders. It will be a blue folder this thick on our chair. And I looked over and I just came in the office to close my door to cry, because we can't cry in court as prosecutors, or you should not cry in court. And I remember looking over, there was like 6 of them. And I was like, I have to go, and I have to go right now, because I'm about to have a Britney Spears moment in here. And I'm not talking about the one in the cute spinning dresses right now. I'm talking about the other one with the cars and the head shaved. I was about to have that moment. And I went and told HR that day, I need to go now. And I need you to email me whatever paper I need to take a sabbatical, because I'm about to lose it. And my cup was completely empty. And I knew I had to be honest with myself and say, this is time for you to step back and take a break, because you're about to break, and refill your cup. So I think being brutally honest with ourselves first, and then advocating for ourselves.
And that's beautiful, because even though you're saying that some women don't even know that's an option, that you can actually stop.
You can stop. So you're going to be forced, something be forcing to stop. The thing is, you can voluntarily stop, or you could be forcing to stop. And even with that too, taking a break, some days I literally get up and I'm like, no, I'm not about the life today. Like, no, like, it's not giving, or I'll be working and I just will get in a certain mood. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to close this laptop and wrap this up today. And I will always tell myself, I'll try again tomorrow, but I will not quit. Or I always say, Jay, a bad day doesn't equate a bad life. So you want to have a bad day today, go ahead, wrap it up. Don't fight through it. Don't push through it. Don't torture yourself through it because it's going to get worse. You're going to be burnt out from tomorrow. I'm trying to wrap it on up. Know when to hold them and fold them, Black women. Know when to hold them and fold them and pick them back up later.
Oh, I love it. So what's a happy and healthy day look like for you now, whether it be emotionally, spiritually, physically, knowing that you've had to get to a point where like this is almost a breaking point. I had to kind of put some little pins in there to reset. What's that day look like where Jay knows this is a happy, fulfilling, connected, and grounded day? What does that look like?
So a day for me is that I'm not particularly a morning person. But when I do have court, I will be up in the morning. If not, I'll give myself that grace or the weekend to kind of, on the weekend I'm not working, to sleep in a little later, maybe 10 o'clock. So I don't force myself to jumpstart my body, especially with depression, because it already feels like when you wake up mostly every day, there's a ton of bricks on you, right? So you already have to gather and give yourself a pep talk to get out the bed, because people don't understand with depression, you're operating most times at 30%. Maybe 40%. So it's like I give myself that grace to say, all right, I'm gonna work my way out. I'll look at a Bible app, right? Or I'll do a devotional. Then I'll get up and I'll tinker around online, check some of my emails. I'll eat. Then I'll go outside, maybe do a little walk. I honestly, to be honest with you, if I'm not working, I give myself freedom to, as long as my priorities are out of the way and I do them, I have things that need to be done within a certain time frame, but I give myself grace to say, okay, you can do this amount right now. You space this out to tomorrow. You space this out to tomorrow. But my days, because I used to be so stringent with it until I got sick last year, unfortunately, I let work and stress give me an ulcer and gallstones. So I had my gallbladder removed recently, and I am now just trying to get back to me and trying to get back to me mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things. So now a lot of times I just take it easy. And one thing that I am proud of myself that I learned to do, because at first I was like, oh no, you got to get up, go in the office, you got to do this and do that. I lift up and I open my laptop and I'll brush my teeth, wash my face, comb my hair down, put my blouse on, and I'll work from the bed sometimes. And that's what relaxing looks like to me, or a good day looks like to me, because I know that I'm not going to be physically ill, but I know I'll still get the work done, but I know it's still kind of on my terms. So my focus right now is, because I was on everybody else's terms for the last, 15 years, and I've been working 20 years, it's on my terms as long as I get it done. And I'm honest with people, give me the deadline, you'll get it then. Don't call me all between. Don't call me before. Don't call me none of that. You're going to get it. I'm going to do it. But I do little things like I'll go look outside. Like I said, I'll do what's relaxing for me in between those priorities that need to be met, but they will get done.
Mm-hmm.
I just run my own schedule, girl. I run my own course, my own schedule.
Come on now. But I'm telling you, I think if I was in a model where I used to be, where that schedule had to be so rigid, I don't even know if I'll be talking to you right now, Jay. And I want to be completely honest with you. So part of those, me taking a break, very similar to you, and we talked about this before, where I had to leave it all alone for about a year. I said, that saved my life. Y'all don't even know. I said, I don't care about the dressing up. Y'all seen this fancy financial services job. Baby, I said, the job can't be that good if it's killing me. The job can't be
listen, it can't, right? It makes you look differently too, through different lenses too, and see what's most important.
And I felt that in that time, I had to package this pain to make it more digestible. Not only for the folk at work, but even the family. I had to kind of package it because you don't want people too worried and, oh, what you got going on, and you know how this goes.
Yeah.
So, tell me about navigating, because this is a real conversation about packaging pain and really the urge to resist that, because you could be killing yourself. So tell me about that packaging of pain and really the urge to resist that.
So one thing I like to say about myself is I keep saying this word because that's what I pride myself on being, is transparent and authentic. And I let people know when I'm in pain and I'm not doing well. I don't package it, because guess what? We're human, right? We're human. And I let you know. And that way, sometimes we let people know when we need help or accountability, because I'll let you know, because listen, I may not be able to show up the way you need me to show up, right? That's even as a child, as a sibling, as a friend, as an employee, as a colleague, as a spouse. I may not be doing well because I'm going through it, and I may not be able in this season. And I want to let you know that, or I may need you to show up a little bit more in this season for me, or I may need you to give me some more grace in this season. So I'm not going to package my uncomfortability for anyone. And that is one thing I'm big on. If I'm not doing what that pain, it is not getting packaged. Now, I won't be a burden and a complaint because I know, and unfortunately, because us Black women, you know, we can't even say nothing wrong sometimes. But they always nagging and complaining. But I will let you know, because number one, I want to let you know how I'm going to show up in this season. And I want you to decide how you're going to show up in this season. So I always encourage people to be very transparent on what you're going through. And that's surprisingly has always really worked for me, that transparency.
Mm-hmm. And I told people, I'm so heavy on the season. Oh, I'm going to teach you how to treat me. You may think,
listen,
you may think you're going to come on here with this food. I'm going to teach you right now. This is re-education season.
Yep.
What was flying even 2 years ago. Don't try that now. I'm telling you, you better not try it. Yep. And part of that re-education piece, you mentioned it earlier, was those boundaries. And saying, now listen, this is where I am. I'm going to be vulnerable and transparent with you. And I also too understand this may be a place that you are not. And I'm okay with that too. Yeah. And having it, because I say this like all the time, and people say, you changed. I say, good.
Look good. I'm supposed to. What's the goal now?
You want me to be the same old person from 10 years ago? Shame on you. Because if ain't nothing evolved in you, ain't nothing shifted in you, shame on you. I'm happy to change. Nothing in this world was meant to stay the same.
Nope, you're right about that.
All life is evolution. Yeah. And I'm comfortable enough and okay to say that. And girl, it is sometimes it's not easy, but they get that re-education to be on a heavy basis now, because I cannot afford, you hear me, Jade Mathis, I can't afford to go back.
Listen, I know, okay? I just listen, these little stitches marks in me, every time I just look at them and I'm like, see, girl, yep, you're not gonna make this more palatable for anyone. I will say the only times I do feel like sometimes that I have to package it is when I am in court or in trial. Remember, I told you that, like what I talked about, as a prosecutor, can't really cry. That stuff still, I've heard some really terrible cases, and the cases even that I do now, I've been to 6 funerals of 6 Black boys that laying in casket watching the deceased that was killed by police officers here in DC or, in the DMV area. So that type of stuff. And I'm the attorney. So I'm doing press conferences, speaking on behalf of the family. That's not a time for me to be able to show as much pain as I want to, or I would like to. So those are instances where I do have to package it and kind of suck up the tears and put on a role, right? Play a role. And that's the times I do find myself doing that I would have normal human reactions to watching these young Black boys that were killed, and their kids crying and their moms crying, and siblings crying at these funerals. And I really, there's not a space for me to be able to cry because I have a job to do.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where that part for you, and having that solitude after really just dump. Because when we talked the first time, I got to thinking about that. I was like, I can't even imagine. I'm like, I'm emotional sitting on the couch. I'm also sitting on the couch watching it. This lady is doing press conference in the face of mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers. That's not an easy walk.
It's not. No, yeah. And like you said, that's that Black strong woman cape that I have to put on, because they wouldn't expect a male. I guess a male, they would look at me if I was to cry and say, oh, if it was a male attorney, he probably wouldn't be in front of this camera crying when he's talking about that. So that is, sometimes I do have to package that and say, all right, let me put on, my mask. Let me put that mask on while I'm in here.
So how are you protecting your peace, being that your story is it's part of a public domain. You are a public figure. So I, kind of channel that. I know there's the work that you do, there's the service that you do, but where is that protect your peace? Because when you like it or not, Jade Mathis, she's known. She's a public figure.
Oh, don't remind me. I keep trying to think of myself as a regular person. I think I'm an ordinary person.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna let you have your segment. Go ahead.
Let me sit in there for a minute. I get a couple moments of normalcy and I enjoy it. But I am queen of, I would disengage, I would block, I would disappear, I would ghost. Baby, I got to do what I need to do for me to be able to, make it to the next day. And I'm not giving you an explanation. I will disappear. I remember when we first talked, I said, are you on social media? You follow me, I'm gonna get back on and follow you back. Because I take sabbaticals. I'll take a break between anything. I'll block some numbers. I have got to maintain it, because the thing with me, or like you said, other public figures, is that your phone doesn't stop ringing, right? Your email doesn't stop. The requests don't stop. The acts don't stop. Even when you go out, right? People are going to notice you. People are want photos. They're going to want to talk to you. So you're on all the time. So I make sure I'm filled all the way up and I'm in a peaceful space before I even leave out to go to something. If I don't, guess what? My protection is not going. I understand that I committed now events. I'm not going back out on an event. I ain't bootleg like that. But I understand I said I may go to your birthday party or this celebration or this release or this launch. But guess what? And I'm not even going to tell you that. My boundaries for my self boundaries is Jade. You know you're burnt out. You know you have this amount of things to do this week, or you know you're just not mentally feeling well today or in a space to see all those people. And if you show up, it's probably not going to be the best representative of yourself that you owe to these people or that you want to display. So how about you just not? So I think not, stop, block, all of that stuff, disengage. That's what helped me keeps my peace. I stay in my own little bubble when I don't have to show up and perform and do this and do that. I stay in my own little bubble, baby. That phone may not get answered and those texts may not be for a couple of days later because I don't have the capacity for whatever's on the other end of it. And if I'm in a real peaceful spot, it don't even matter what's on the other end of it. You're not breaking up this peace. Right. So I'm just going to have to, it could be something you want, good, bad, whatever. I just know I like the moment that I'm in. And like yesterday, blowing me, texting, calling. It's a Sunday. Nope. This is my Zen day. This is my day. Yep. I got to get ready for this week. So I will not be responding to anyone today on Sunday. Everybody will be getting called back Monday. And I stayed in a bed and watched everything I could find on Netflix that was new that I hadn't seen. And I ordered some Uber Eats and sat in that bed and had my glass of wine and enjoyed my Sunday.
I love it. And I was just talking to a group of women at a table and they were saying, well, you must have a lot of friends. I said, you must not really know me. I said, she got the time. I said, huh? I said, wait a minute. Now, I said, I do my work. I put my work into the earth and I do that and I show up and I'm consistent and all these great things. Like Jay said, she ain't bootleg like that, me either.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on. You know what?
Is that the...
Wow, you know what? They ain't needed anyway. Not they just hit me and said they canceled it, girl. She done ran into some. I knew when she was on that little bike, I wasn't gonna get it. It's all right. I get something. Just
they didn't cancel the woman's food, y'all.
They didn't cancel the whole for whipping being 30, 40 minutes late. So I hate if I just was sitting there watering. I'm just gonna go get something after they wrong for that. But it's
my God, girl, you gonna make me crack up on this thing. I'm just.
I hate if I was sitting here about to fall out starving. They lucky I got some little fuel in me.
But Jade, I'm telling you, I told that young lady, I say when we talked about this too, when we spoke the first time, I said I'm in a stage in my life where all I need is 3-4 solid good ones. All this extra stuff, talking about buddy, this ain't high school. I ain't looking for no clique. I don't need no validation. I don't need no crew. I don't need none of it. Yep. Okay, because right now, this energy that I have right now, I am so committed to protecting it.
Listen, by a thread, we have a thread of energy sometimes, and more people means more energy and more all of that, and more disruption of your peace.
I mean, it really is. And I knew it was bad when this. I love her. And she called me about a week ago, and I answered the phone the first ring. She almost fell out. She said, "What?" I had to even stop and laugh. She said, "Hello." She said, "I was prepared to leave a message." She said, "I didn't think you would go." So they know, and that part of peace protection, I can't do a whole lot. When I get there, I'm gonna be pure, I'm gonna be genuine, I'm gonna do the job, I'm gonna love on the people. But after that, I'm trying to call now. That's
what's up. Know your capacity. You got this much, and you got to do the right. Like I said, like me particularly, when people who deal with mental health issues, we already start off at a deficit. So you only have so much to work with on a daily basis. So you have to be very selective what you work with, or you'll lose it. So that's one of the best advice, best business advice I can give people who deal with mood disorders or mental health challenges. Is because they don't realize we start off at a deficit than most people.
Yeah, we don't got you got a whole lot to give.
That's why I tell you, I'm like, I ain't got it, baby. I ain't got it to get. I don't have it in me today. I'm done. No, I can't.
It's just honesty. It's just from an honest place.
I don't got nothing for you. I'll tell somebody in a second, baby, I ain't got nothing for you. I don't have anything for you at all. Of any of you, I just don't.
Oh, but you know what, Jade? I had to grieve a lot of really lost. And we're not talking about people dying and going into the grave. I'm talking about things I had to grieve, people that are still here, situations that are still here, that I had to say,
yep,
this ain't it.
Yep.
And this stuff been rocking since 86 when a girl came out. This stuff been rocking.
Oh, yeah, that's a long. Oh, yeah, you had to. I know you did some breathing. Yeah, I know you
did. I mean, this is stuff that like you've been a statue. You know, this we've been there. But baby, I gotta let you go. So tell me about some things that you've had to grieve in order to grow. Because I'm in a process right now, like we just talked about. I've had to shelter and chill. I'm grieving some people that's very much still alive, but I don't want to just go out and eat and talk about the shenanigans. So I got to grieve you a little bit because I really can't do it.
It's so interesting that you asked that because I'm actually in a current season of grieving. You know, like I told you, after I got to the point and I figured, I've been sick for about 9 or 10 months, and it took them a while to figure out what it was. And going through that experience, you know, like I said, I'm a very candid person. So people were continuing to tap on me and reach out to me and to do things that come to things. And I was unable to. And listen, for some people, they still ain't care, baby. You would have thought that I'm like, y'all, you know, I'm like, I could barely get out of bed some days. And, you know, I lost 30 pounds. And they like, hey, can you come to this? Can you do this? Can you do that? So that taught me that the life that I thought, you know, me showing up and being here and going to these events and more, I have a very philanthropic spirit, right? And a servant heart. But I have to grieve even right now. And even as a lawyer, you know, I've been a career lawyer for 10 years now, but I'm grieving now, changing over to the next season of my life. And number one, it's not going to look as service oriented as it did before, because when I showed up for everyone else, I couldn't show up for myself. And then when I looked around from my bedside, you know, and my anesthesia, all of that stuff, a lot of those people were not there. So I'm grieving what it looks like to show up. Number one, for people, I'm grieving that. And I'm grieving a lot of friendships, relationships that I thought that I had. I'm grieving that. And I'm just, you know, looking at the way I look at people. I'm grieving my lenses that I once had, because I was one of those people. I can be, even though I was a prosecutor, I'm a lawyer, I think the best of everyone first. See, I like to think the best. I see something good in everyone. So I can kind of look through rose-colored lenses. Baby, the rose color got some prickles in them now. I was like, oh Lord, I got prickles and spines all in them. I'm gonna have to try to get back to that because they looking real foggy right now. But grieving that and grieving being a full-time lawyer, because I know my body, when it took that hit and those emotions and everything, and messed all up in my gut system, and that's how it showed up. That's not for me. Being in that career where it's, you know, it could be very stressful. It could be very, you know, it could be very, very stressful. It can be a whole lot of work, a lot of emotions and stuff. I'm transitioning now to more so public speaking, more so mental health advocacy, more so, you know, trying to become an author. But I still am going to grieve all those years I spent as an attorney, all those years taking the bar exam 6 times, you know, all of that hard work and effort. I'm grieving thinking that I probably would have been practicing for 20, 30, 40 years and having my own firm, to my new reality of that, Jay, your body is not going to be able to handle, you know, your stress level. It's not for you. Some people can deal with those type of things, being on and being stressed out and very high paced and and like that type of stuff. Girl, you don't, and your body don't, and your brain don't. So you're going to have to grieve that lifelong career you may have thought you had as an attorney, a trial attorney, and having your own firm, into probably not having that anymore. So that's kind of now what I'm accepting but it's in the best interest of my health, mental, physical, and emotional. But it's still a little harmful that I am unable to probably, you know, use that law degree that I fought for all those years. I can still use it, just not to the capacity that I thought at the time that I was going to be using it.
Absolutely. And you're right about the seeing people, because that was me. Like, I thought, oh yeah, this girl, Jack, I could see it. Like, that person is this and that, but I could see something in them. But now, I don't know if I'm shifting over to the old lady side, or I don't know what it is. But I'm like, baby, what's all this talking for? What do you need?
Listen, what you want, what you need. I look at it, I come in like this. I'm like, something ain't right. My spirit, something ain't right in my spirit. What they want, I'm looking at. So you know, we got to work on a good medium in that. I think we have to work on that.
I need help. I'm gonna say I'm gonna need a little help, because I'm going to the other side, because I don't be trying to hear. Like I'm really quick, and I say, "Oh, what happened to you, girl? What happened?"
Look, you might be like me. I had to realize myself. I said I operate in extremes. So I'm either one or the other. I'm rose color. Oh, there's something good in everybody. Oh, people have guard. You just gotta. So like, girl, if it was for you, if they needed it, if you listen, baby, the shoe was on the other foot. Remember, it was on the other foot. You like the same people.
Okay, so we got to get some middle ground, Jay. We got to find.
I'm having a hard time with gray. Me and my therapist are working on that gray because I'm not really good with this gray. But yeah, so maybe you like me, we got to work on that gray. It's a little hard, but I'm extreme this way or that way. And yeah, I'm that way right now.
Let me go here because I want to make sure we get this one before we kind of come to a close. And this is one of my favorite questions I told you on there because I challenge this every day. What do you hope the presence of Jade Mathis gives over a resume? A resume could never. That's what I want to say. My resume could never. I love about this, and that's one of my favorite questions. When I send it over, I say because that's what keeps me in line. That's what keeps me grounded. That's what keeps me going. Because baby, their resume could never compare.
Could never. Listen. That's why I don't update mine often because it's not giving what I'm giving right now. But that is a phenomenal question. I'm gonna have to steal that from you. But no, yeah, that is a really good question. And what I would say is I think that we're all placed on this earth for a particular purpose, right? And a particular mission. And I think it's to leave the earth and the world better than it is when we came, and to leave people better than we did when we found them. And that's one of my main missions and goals in life is that I always want to leave people better than how I found them. Not saying that they were ever doing bad, right? But I want to leave you with a great experience of me. I want to leave you with something valuable, something that'll make you happy, something that, some type of wisdom or departing you something that you didn't have when I met you. And one thing that I specialize, I pride myself on is people all the time, oh, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, this and that. And I appreciate it. But kindness, I would rather be kinder and more beautiful inside than I am outside any day. And I pride myself on making sure that I'm beautiful inside and I'm kind inside, more attractive inside than I am outside. So I always like to move in gracefulness. I want people to encounter me as a graceful person, as a genuine person, right? I want people to walk away feeling seen, heard, loved, understood, accepted, and most importantly, valued, because I know what that feels like.
That is so, so beautiful. And like my old Sunday school teacher say, clean it up from the inside out. I say, girl, that's getting a little different now. So I'm an old crow now. So
right, we ain't got no. We like, all right, now we work on the inside, dog, because it's outside fading quicker than
but it really, really does hit different now. And that part of just being internally clean. And I tell these women that come, I say, baby, you sure you want to build a brand with me? Because you're going to build this thing from inside out. I might not be the right person to connect with because this is the form of teaching and vibe that you're going to get. Yep. I say, because everything that you have seen me do scared, it is a testament of the self-worth that is finally coming out to the surface. Yep. That's all this is, no matter what you see me doing. Yep. So if we can't connect like that, I'm happy to say, I ain't it, baby. Go on, find somebody else to help you.
Somebody else to do it, baby. I ain't got nothing for you.
I can't do it. Let me ask you this question, but I think this is also a good one. What has advocacy taught you about pain? I'm sorry, what have advocacy taught you about power? And what has pain taught you about purpose?
Oh,
because those right there are the plays. Because when you are in the place of advocacy, you have a different view. It teaches you something different about power. Mm-hmm. This I know. And the same thing in the crux of that pain, when you don't understand this, that's where purpose ignites, because I've been there.
Yep. No, you are so right. The advocacy that what advocacy has taught me is that you have to be a servant, right? A servant. A lot of advocates are leaders, right? So you have to serve. You have to have a spirit of servantship, and it shows you how to serve, and it shows you how to serve from a place of humility, from vulnerability, from empathy. And I think that's true power, right? I think to use your voice for the voiceless is one of the main components of advocacy. And I think to do that, you have to have that humility that comes with it to be able to relate to someone else and feel their pain and still use your voice because they cannot use their voice at that time. That showed me power, and it showed me how much power that I have, right? Because I'm making the difference between if this officer that killed your son goes to jail or stays on the streets. I'm making a difference between, you know, that my voice can make a difference between, you know, how you process your son being killed and what we do in the meantime of us trying to get justice and what justice looks like. So me being a servant to you is actually me coming off what a lot of leaders, you know, are as advocates, coming off of that pedestal that people put us on, or a lot of people put themselves on, that are advocates, and saying it's true power in humanity. It's true power in vulnerability and being able to humanize this person in a situation. And baby, with pain and taught me about purpose. Whew. One thing I always say, and I play it in my head so often, especially when I'm going through a painful situation or a painful season, is that as long as you have breath in your lungs, you still have purpose here on earth. So even if it hurts, even when it hurts, because you're going to have things that hurt and painful seasons or rejections and things that don't come the way that you want them to, or you thought they were going to, you still have breath. So when I think about it, Jade, you're still here, right? You woke up, even if you woke up to cry another day, even if you woke up to stay in the bed another day, because you're so depressing, there's so much pain. Even if you woke up throwing up every day, like I did for 8 or 9 months before the doctors figured out what it was, you're still here. So there is a purpose. You have to figure out what that purpose is. But if you didn't have one, you wouldn't be here. Your chapter would be over. Your book would be over. Your book would be ended. So if you woke up, it's something. You still have a purpose.
So powerful, because you have one of those bad days, like you said, bad day, not a bad life.
Bad life.
You'll forget that there's still something ground here, because he put you on a wake-up call list. There's still something that shall be done.
That shall be, and it makes sense afterwards. It always, you know, it makes sense, and what you take away. And a lot of this pain, you know, a lot of things I've learned out of the pain, particularly purpose, is that it births your purpose, right? So I didn't want to, like I said, I was going to be a news reporter. My degree is in broadcast journalism. Baby, I was going to be the next Barbara Walters. You couldn't tell me.
Come on, Jade.
I've been watching 2020 since I was 7 years old. Never missed an episode. But when I was diagnosed, you know, and I withdrew from school mid-semester and had to move back home, and then followed and then went back into school my senior year. I withdrew the junior year. But it actually shifted me and gave me empathy for those who may not have, right? Who were born, who were dealt not a such good hand at life. They weren't dealt the best hand at life, or they go through trials and tribulations and obstacles. I had never really been through anything into that season in my life. So it birthed my purpose to say, you know what? I am going to help people who are giving unfortunate hands at life, right? Who have been through certain situations that were very painful, and they don't know that they can navigate their way out, or they don't have the resources that I do, because I'm going to be realistic. Because of who my dad is and my family, I do have more, you know, advantages or more resources than the ordinary person would have. However, you know, that helped me discover that purpose and say, this is what your mission is. Your mission is, you don't want people to feel pain that you did with your diagnosis. Or if you do, you want to let people know that it's okay, right? It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to not be in it. It's okay to fail and get back up and try again. So that pain of taking those bars over and over, and then having that cancer scare right here, where I have my lovely war wound that I always say, my beautiful war wound on me, that birthed my purpose. And on top of that, I didn't know that sharing my testimony was going to go viral. So that turned me into something that I didn't even know was a purpose, for me to be a motivational speaker and public speaker and mental health advocate. I just started in 2016 telling the world about my diagnosis. So I definitely didn't think that was going to happen next. So after I told that testimony, and it was so painful for me to tell, you know, to anybody, I had just passed the bar. So to share it with the world, that was my first time sharing it with the world on that platform. But look what God had another purpose on the other end. He already knew, I'm going to take this story and this person, and he knew what he was going to do with it. And I had no clue, but clearly he knew all along when he was building. So I always tell people, everything I went through, I would not trade it for the world. If I had to go through it all, I don't want to get emotional because it was a lot. But if I had to go through all of it again, I would do it again.
I know. And I told her when we talked last time, I said, Jay, you need to go back and watch that thing. I said, because I watched that thing when it came, like, early on. But of course, preparing to get here and speak to you, of course, I had to go watch it again.
I love it. I'm gonna give you MVP. I'm gonna tell Carl First Baptist and tell Pastor G, I need you to give her MVP award for the most part.
You know I got you. I said she really needs to go back and watch this again in a different season of her life, because so often we forget, because we know we see, Jade did her, testimony, 1 million views. But Jade needs to go back and watch that testimony.
You are so right. And I do not go back enough and watch it. I really don't go back and watch it. And that season, all that pain really birthed the resilient Jim, who I am now. I would have never had that name. I would have never had it birthed me. That pain birthed the purpose of the resilient Jim. And I'm so grateful. I'm very grateful.
It was. And we were talking, I'm like, Jay, we legit need to go back and do
I need to do it once a week. I need to tell myself you need to do this once. So because when I do watch it, it's so strange because it's like me watching someone else. And I'll get teared up and I'm like, dang, somebody. And I'll be like, girl, that's you. Girl, that is you. That's you.
Yeah.
Do that. That's you.
Yeah. I said, and because then she was just so casual. I'm like, huh? Like what?
I'm gonna go back and do it, but sometimes it can be kind of like an author or writing a book or something. It could be a sore point. So I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of times I only have gone back and watched it if I know I have to speak on it somewhere, a particular thing, because it can still be a point of pain, right? You overcame it, but watching yourself tell that story of that pain when you were in that wilderness and how you came in to have that on a tape, it does something to you. It does do something to me every time. But you're right, that story at the end, at the end, I got to remind myself. I have to remind myself.
I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying. And since you're working on that book, go ahead on and rewatch it so you can get.
Listen,
I'm gonna keep saying it because it's time. I told her last time, like, Jay, where's the book at? I was looking all around the website. Surely Jay got a book somewhere. Jay ain't put the book in the earth yet, but she gonna do it.
It's coming. It's coming. It's definitely coming.
I know. I gave her some tips. I already told Jay what to do, how to get it out. She gonna do it. And
it's coming, y'all. And it's gonna be sooner than later. I'm not. It's coming, y'all. I promise. I owe y'all. I owe that to me. I owe that to y'all.
You do. Now we're gonna do rapid fire. It's just.
I love rapid fire. Here we go.
Okay. You don't get a whole lot of. You get like a word or maybe a sentence or two. That's what you get. But this right here is to keep you fresh, connected to this resilient Jim journey. And stand it out of your mouth so that it comes to fruition in the earth.
Love that.
All right. One word to describe the season of your life right now.
Awakening.
Oh, come on, Jade. The last thing that you said yes to that scared you but stretched you.
Ooh.
Come on, you're going to work on here now. Ooh. I told you already.
The last thing I said.
And I know the answer to this, but I'm going to see if you know the answer to it.
This. I'm just kidding. No. The last thing that I said yes to that.
Jade, really?
Oh, the last thing I said yes to is the Spirit of God telling me that it's time to change seasons and it's time to return somewhere I haven't been in a very long time. And I'm being obedient with that. And it's going to uproot my life and change my life. Like it's never been changed before. And I am terrified. But I
still realize why I did these questions. Because Jay, we just laid stuff to my
I do just listen. I just
saying this work. Because she's talking about, I said, not really? Are you kidding me? Stay tuned for that. She'll let y'all know.
Stay tuned. It's gonna be another baby. That's part of the testimony times fat. That's the 5th edition of the testimony. But yes, that's part. Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you for that. Oh, baby, I'm so scared. And I said yes.
See what I mean?
Okay. Yes, I do see what you mean.
Your go-to hype song when you're ready to get on that stage and speak. Do you have a song I got a lot of them, but do you got like a song? I'm gonna put this on and play it because this is my, hey.
I like Survivor.
Come on now. Somebody else said that today on the show. She was way in the UK talking about Survivor. Yeah.
I like, it's kind of when I used to do my tours with the National Institute of Health, we would do HBCUs. Walk it like I talk it was something I will always, it will carry me out to walk it like I talk it. And I would do the little walk out there because listen, baby, you're going to get 100% no matter when you talk to me, how you talk to me, where, and I'm going to walk in it and I'm going to be authentic in it. And whatever come out this mouth, that's what's in my heart. And I'm going to walk it like I talk it. And you're going to get a straight shooter every time. But that and Survivor.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Oh, you're a coffee girl. I'm a tea girl. Tell me about a quote or a scripture that you come back to often.
Oh, I would say, of course, Jeremiah 29:11. For another plans that I have for you. And then why am I drawing a blank on what the actual scripture is right now? But when Jesus told the lay woman to pick up her mat and walk, I believe it was Acts, but I cannot remember exactly right now. I have it written downstairs, but when he told her to pick up her mat and walk, and that's because I have been through, those times when they thought that I could potentially have cancer in the middle of failing the bar for the 4th, 5th, 6th time. And I wanted to, give in, and I wanted to, I couldn't get out the bed. And I was like, I don't know how, I just remember hearing the Holy Spirit tell me, pick up your mat and walk. And I didn't know where I was walking to a lot of times. Even
beautiful.
I don't know where I'm walking to, but I pick up my mat and walk.
Oh, that's beautiful. Something people assume about Jade Mathis, but it's totally wrong. That ain't it.
People assume that I'm stuck up. A lot of people
assume. I know.
Before getting to know me, a lot of people assume that I'm stuck up, or they assume I got a rack of boyfriends around the corner. That's not true. I got a long line of suitors. I mean, it may be one, I just don't pay attention to them, or that I'm stuck up. A lot of people think that I'm a privileged, entitled, stuck up girl. A lot of people think that.
Well, I can prove to y'all she's not. Jade, it seemed like a cousin of somebody I've known a long time. We just sit here, last talk, and move on, okay? Now, tell me about a habit or a practice that keeps you mentally grounded.
I like
that. Gotta work.
I love nature. Really does something to me as well. So I love to take walks around the water. I love to just sit out and listen to nature, no headphones, any of that stuff, having my feet on the ground. I think that definitely, keeps me grounded. And when I'm sitting there with my feet on the ground and just nature, and also therapy. Therapy, absolutely, of course. And I didn't start therapy until 15 years into my diagnosis. I didn't start therapy until 2021. When I was like, okay, girl, all right, it was COVID pandemic, but you navigate like the other people because you already have a condition. But therapy and just being one with nature, and actually now taking road trips by myself. I like to get in and drive by myself. That's something that I've really started enjoying now, like hiking and that type of thing, road trips by myself.
I love that. Now, if you can sit on a panel with any 3 women, living or gone, we don't know. You only get 3 now, so no whole lot of. Yeah. Only 3 at the table. Who gonna be at that table?
Oh, you got some good ones. You got some good questions. Ruth Ginsburg, of course. I've always been a huge Barbara Walters.
Come on, Barbara.
And I do enjoy trying not to do the stance between the two, but of course it would be Michelle Obama. Trying to decide between her or Oprah, but Michelle Obama. Actually, Oprah. It would be Oprah.
Okay. I love it. And this is the final one. Your voice shines brightest when?
Ooh. Come on. My voice shines brightest when I am walking in my truth.
Beautiful. What a fabulous rapid fire round. All the answers for fire. Amazing.
I know that was a little longer, but that was some good ones. I had to think.
Real quick time. But this is the part of our show we cue over to our guests for final thoughts. I tell you to give us some great parting words for this space, and really something that captures the essence of the Jade Mathis. I'm going to cue over your final thoughts, and I'll close the show.
I would always say I want you all to think about one word that you would define yourself as, and stay true to that word. So when I was looking for one word to define myself as, I looked at everything I have been through, and I looked over my life in a journey. And I said, I never gave up. I took punch after punch after punch, and I kept getting back on the horse, right? And I picked the word resilient. So I want you to define yourself, pick one word which you to define yourself by, and make sure that you look up and you're true to that word every single day, and that you embody that word and what that definition is for you. And guess what? Never, ever, ever give up. Take a break, give yourself permission to pause, but never, ever, ever give up. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's not. Never give up. And it's okay to start. One of my most important advice is it's okay to start over and over and over and over again. Give yourself permission to start over and over and over again, because guess what? You are the author of your own book, right? You're the author and the main character. So give yourself permission to write and rewrite your story as often as you need to and as necessary as you need to. Give yourself permission to, because it's your story, it's your life, it's your book. Guess what? You better make it good, girl. And that's it.
You better make it good. Then she can't make it
good, girl. Make your life story good.
Listen, Jade, we've been speaking for a whole hour and 3 minutes. Don't even feel like it. It just felt like it. No, it did. It just felt that good. And I thank you so much for creating the space. I thank you so much for being the face of resiliency. I thank you for doing it your way, even having such strong legacy. When I reached out to you, everything was pure in intention, and I am so happy you answered the call and said yes. I do not take it lightly. I want to tell everybody out there in the Her Voice Shines podcast, miraculous things happen when you let your voice shine. And like the old church folks say, I love you, ain't nothing you can do about it. And I'll be back. I'll be back next time with another amazing woman on the Her Voice Shines podcast. And until then, we are out.